Let's go back a little bit to 1882 to give you some context. Most people probably don't know the name W.B. Keller. I certainly didn't until I started researching this project. He founded the National Bottlers Gazette. Once upon a time, before the internet, if you wanted to organize people in a community, you made a magazine. You didn't make a website, you didn't make a blog. So he was interested in the beginnings, and this was the beginnings of the bottling industry in the country. Coca-Cola wasn't invented yet, Pepsi wasn't invented yet, this is birch beer and stuff like that. And he was an excitable fellow, I'd say. This is an excerpt from his opening editorial about why there should be such a National Bottlers Gazette. Because the bottlers of this country deserve a journal, a practical journal. And that is just what we propose. With our experience to guide us, we start anew into the Elysian fields of bottlers' literature. And we shall ever aim to keep abreast of the times. You will probably be agreeably surprised, and we intend you shall be. Give us a hearty welcome, brothers bottlers, and we will give you a first-class, independent, live, and interesting journal. By our works ye shall judge us. This is how we inaugurated the Gazette. This magazine is still around today, 1907. It changed its name, but it's still the industry magazine for bottlers, which I think is fairly remarkable. But he ran it during around 40 years. And during his time, I was able to go to the offices and look at their records. All they really talk about is the industry. You know, they're always driving for legislation, for ethical practices, for new technical innovations. But I came across, in 1903, this table of contents, an article on the temperance movement, the use and abuse of the trademark, a little further down, encouragement to develop original ideas to compete. But right in the middle of that, the Jew in the bottling business, 1903. So what did he have to say that he thought he should do an entire editorial about? Let's take a look. The Jew in the bottling business. Lest we be misunderstood in reference to the Jews in the bottling business, we desire to say that we use this term advisedly as a descriptive appellation to distinguish a certain class of industrious and energetic men who are finding the business of bottling beverages an attractive vocation. The Jews are learning the business in large numbers and are growing in force and influence beyond all peradventure of a doubt. This is not to be wondered at, considering that they are natural-born traders, and their thrift to be commended. The bottling of siphon waters, because that branch offers the least resistance, naturally attracts their first attention. So we're catching here a moment in time when Jews are entering the seltzer bottling business. This is a time when the industry is taking notice, and they are recognizing it. In fact, they need to comment on it. We notice, however, that there is antagonism between the American-born Jew and his foreign co-religionist. I didn't get it at first when I read this. I realized, oh, he wasn't talking about with the bottling industry. He was talking about Jews who were born in the U.S. and the immigrants who were coming in. He's talking about something going on amongst Jews. Right? This is perhaps only natural, and candor compels us to say that a similar feeling or sentiment exists among other classes of the human race, although maybe not quite so pronounced or apparent. That feeling, however, soon wears away as the foreigner develops American habits and ideas, much as it wears away in all classes. Oops. Oh, sorry, the slides are out of order. The Jews in the bottling business number a very respectable minority and are scattered all over the country. So here we get to find out where they are in bottling. In New York City, Brooklyn, Newark, Philadelphia, Boston, and Chicago. They are quite numerous. So much so, in fact, that they have in nearly all the cities mentioned separate protective bottlers associations. And I should say one of the things he cared about the most were these bottlers associations, the industry organizing. So another group coming in and making their own was a threat to him, of great concern to him. This feature of their methods we do not commend, for there is usually only room for one such an association in a given city. And yet, he was very generous, we must acknowledge that racial differences has no doubt driven the Jews to seek their own company and each other's protection rather than force their rights and wants on or in a Gentile association of bottlers. The mere matter of forming such bottlers associations is a very good sign, though, of rational business methods. And in this respect, the Jews are far ahead of any other nationality. In this respect, and many others, we commend the Jew bottler to his co-religionists. So thank you. He's telling the other Jews that the new Jews are good. In the bottler supply business, it is only fair to say that in whatsoever branch of the supply business the Jew merchant, trader, or manufacturer finds himself, he soon adapts himself to his environment and lives up to the best ideals of a first-class businessman. The Jew is no doubt in the bottling trade for keeps. That much is evident. It is hoped that he will not degenerate, rather that his evolution will be progressive, onward and upward. So again, he has that same passion in all his editorials. And at first I thought, oh gosh, there's something called the Jew in the bottling business. I was ready for this anti-Semitic tirade from 1903. And instead I was rather impressed. It was very thoughtful, very understanding, and he was speaking from outside the community about tensions within the community and understanding what was going on. So I thought, wow, I had renewed respect for the fellow who I already had respect for. And it gives us, again, some insight to the beginnings of why Jews and Seltzer? Where was that connection? And we see right at the beginning of that period of massive influx of Jews into New York and into the country, when at the same time the bottling industry was beginning to boom and organize, the Jews saw an economic opportunity and began to be involved in that trade.
Hi, ma'am. What's your name?
Janice.
My name is Bill. Ranger Paul. My name is the Banana.
What's your occupation?
Sales store.
Brian.
Assistant conductor. I'm a park ranger. I give out flags in a banana suit, so you can say I'm a promotional genius.
When you hear the word seltzer, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Medicine.
Tell me what.
Because it got a funny taste. I think you use it for medicine, like if you have a upset stomach or, back pains or something like that, you drink it to settle your stomach.
Seltzer? Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer.
Bathroom.
Tell me more. What that?
Because seltzer means that your stomach is bubbling up, and usually when your stomach's bubbling up, it's either coming out the front or the back.
How would your life be different if it wasn't for seltzer?
I wouldn't be able to eat a double quarter pound of cheese from McDonald's.
Obviously, health and seltzer is a major topic. I won't be talking about it tonight, but if you want to ask questions about it after, we can do that. So, 1906, back to the forward, but back before it was in English, when it was still in Yiddish. Here is I don't know if it's an advertisement or an editorial is the right phrase, because it's rather designed, but this is from the editorial staff of the Forward, November 3rd. Let me translate. Despite hunger, exhaustion, and beatings of employees at the hands of gangs hired by their bosses, the ongoing strike of the Union of Mineral Water Workers is holding fast and is as strong as iron. As of yet, not one worker has broken ranks with the strikers. The strike could be settled in a matter of days if the bosses and shops would simply accept the union and allow their workers to join it. Until then, the Forward requests that its readers not drink any seltzer unless it has the union label on the bottle. Without the union label, you will be drinking bloody seltzer.
My mother is from Uzbekistan and my father is from the Ukraine, both Jews. My father would be Ashkenazic and my mother is a Bukharian Jew, which is a group of Jews that were kind of cut off from this healing water, which I believe is just carbonated, maybe naturally carbonated, but carbonated water. And my grandfather, Daniel Yakubov, he swore by his visits to Czechoslovakia, where he went every year for about 20 years.